Okay, so a really interesting signing. This has been a really interesting free agency in that it feels like a lot of okay players are getting top dollar, while also really good players are getting sort of similar top dollar. As you see that here, Jevon Holland, one of the top free agents that many of us at least felt like was the top free agent on the market, gets a similar deal to what the other safeties on the market have been getting, at least the other kind of, safeties that are considered good players, as Holland for the Giants a $45.3 million deal. Listen, maybe he was only going to go certain places and that brought his value down, but is that the case? Are you going to the Giants, who haven't had some great years recently? I don't know. But ultimately, he decides to go to the Giants, and I think the Giants kind of get a bit of a sweetheart deal for Jevon Holland, who, again, at his best, has been one of the best safeties in the league. I do think it's fair to say there has been some inconsistency with his game, and I think that's why maybe you see him not being quite as high regarded, perhaps, because you look at his, let's just use PFF grades as a statistic. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but let's just use it. In 2021, his first year, he was the fourth highest graded center with an 84.7 grade. The next year, it fell to 67.2. Then in 2023, it jumped back up to 90.4, which was third best in the league. And then last year, it was 63. So it seems like he's due for another great year. This upcoming year is one way you could look at it. But you've definitely seen some inconsistency in his game. And I do wonder if that's part of why maybe you see, him not getting the huge deal that maybe some other safeties have gotten. But ultimately, for me, I mean, I think that for a cornerback, or for a safety, I should say, you're going to get some inconsistency. Like, that's just kind of how the position works. And it's entirely dependent a lot on who is around you as well. So I really don't think that this is a bad move at all. I think this is a very good move for Jevon Holland. And again, you see some of these other safeties that I don't think have had as much, good years as Holland, and maybe have also had as much consistency, getting not as much money as what he is getting. So, getting more money than what he is getting. So, because of that, I don't know. I like this move from the Giants' perspective. Now, I think the question you could ask if you're a Giants fan is, okay, well, what are we doing moving forward? Is a safety moving the needle that much? Well, I'm going to safety moves the needle to some degree, and you need good players. He's only 25. You could get 7 years out of him. You could get 10 years out of him, depending on how long he plays, right? Like, this is something that you need. You need good young players, and adding a good young player is helpful. Obviously, they lost Xavier McKinney last offseason, so this could be a replacement. Again, you never know how free agent signings work. There's always a risk. Free agent signings sometimes work, sometimes don't, but it's always worth, I think, if you have the cap space, going out and adding a good, talented young player. So yeah, when I saw some of these other contracts, I thought, wow, he's going to be getting $20 million. And it's happened a couple times where you see some of these other contracts where they're giving other safeties, top dollar, but then the top safety still gets top dollar and not more than that. That happened with the edge rushers as well. Josh Sweat didn't really break the market like I thought he might when we saw other defensive linemen getting similar to what Josh Sweat got before Josh Sweat got his contract. So, yeah, I mean, listen, the Giants, I think, have a very good defensive line at this point with Dexter Lawrence and with Brian Burns and with Kayvon Thibodeau. I think that's a really good three players, and obviously Lawrence being the superstar out of that mix, but Burns and Thibodeau can also do some nice things. You have that. You have Bobby Okereke. Now you have Jevon Holland. I still think that there is some, they could still use some corners, but you did add Paulson Adebo as well, so you've improved the secondary. All of a sudden, this Giants defense could be okay, and we'll see how some of the young players play in future years. Like, do you get Deonte Banks to step up a little bit? He is still a young player. We'll see, right? How does this exactly all break down? Obviously, we're still waiting on the quarterback, unless they're going to go with Tommy DeVito for a year. So we'll see how that all works. But all of a sudden, Giants adding some talent on paper, which, again, it still is just on paper. We'll have to see how it plays out. There always are risks with free agent signings and all of that. But so far, I think this is a good offseason for the Giants. So, yeah, and I'm usually someone who's very critical of the Giants, but no, I'm a fan of their moves. I think they're doing the right thing right now. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.